96% of businesses fail within the first 5 years of business. And here's what's crazy. 4% of those that do succeed, most of them aren't even profitable. And most of them stay self-employed rather than actual business owners. The business is still dependent on them. Look, my name's Dion. I've been in business for 13 years. We've helped our clients generate over $250 million while getting their time back over the past 5 years. In today's video, I'm gonna show you a couple of key tips to help you change your thinking framework to become a 1% company that you can create a business and a team that thrives and grows with or without you. I'm sure we've all heard the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he talks about the cash flow quadrant. And what I love about the cash flow quadrant, it gives us a real life example as to why most people fail or they create their own prison within their own business. So in the cash flow quadrant, you've obviously got the 4 quadrants, okay? Now within this, the top left, you've got employee. Down here, you've got self-employed. Up the top, you've got business, and here you've got investor. Now the difference between self-employed and business owner is this. Self-employed means you own a job, okay? The business is dependent on you. Whereas over here, a business means you own a system, which means the business is like a flywheel. It can continue to grow and service your clientele without you, with a team, systems, automation, whatever it is, however you've got it set up. But here's a catch. Within the cash flow quadrant, this is why most business owners get stuck, because there's a massive thick wall right here, okay? And the thing is, you've got humans on both sides of this wall. And then you've also got money on both sides of this wall. On this side, in the employment and the self-employed section within this world, 95% of the world lives on this side. While the business owners and the investors, only 5% live on this side. So only over 5% of the population gets onto this side. Here's the catch though. How often have you met somebody and they work so hard, yet they struggle. They live week to week because they're a good person. Here's the challenge with it. Is good is the enemy of great. And when you're coming into business, the reason why most people struggle when they're self-employed is because they're sharing only 5% of the world's wealth on this side. Whereas on the other side, you're sharing 95% of the world's wealth. And this is where you do hear the people that go, yeah, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. The reality is, yes, that is true, but it's because they think differently. And I'm gonna show you why a lot of us can get stuck. When you're self-employed over here, the business is dependent on you, you own a job, and you're sharing 5% of the world's wealth. Whereas when you move over here, which we all wanna get here, you then own a system. But why is it so hard to break through this? And the reality is, it's because of the noise. So let me give you a visual representation of what 5% looks like, okay? But then, what does it look like if you want to be one of those top 1% companies? Because remember, only 4% make it past the 5 years and most of them aren't profitable. There's like 1%, if that actually become financially successful and profitable, okay? And this is why. I'm gonna give you a visual representation of tally marks here. So here we've got 100 tally marks, okay? So out of these tally marks, only one of these 100 businesses actually make it. And there's the first thinking framework I want you to understand and really grasp if you get something from this video right now, is you've got to understand you need to be creating a business, making decisions, and acting in a way within your business that breaks trends, that breaks thinking patterns, that goes against the status quo. But the biggest challenge is most of us are afraid to stand out, to become outstanding. Because when you do these different things in business, you've got 99 people that'll look at you judging you, saying you're weird, or talking about you, or throwing stuff at you, or saying that's not gonna work, or that's different, or that's risky. But what you will notice, any of the companies that you look up to that are playing at that world-class level, they are doing things different. They're thinking like a 1%er. And the biggest challenge is our mind unconsciously, it is so afraid to be a 1%er. Consciously, yes, we wanna be a 1%er, but unconsciously we don't. Now, why is that? Think about your whole childhood. You're born into a family and you're groomed a certain way. You're told what's good, what's bad, what you're good at, what you're not good at. You're then sent to school and then you're graded within different classes saying you're good at this, bad at that, whatever it may be, on a grading system, A down to D. You then get a report card and according to the score on that report card, you're either excited to go home to mum and dad, or you're nervous. And this is where it all starts. You must fit in from day one. Otherwise, mum and dad shame you, and that gives you disconnection and lack of love. So we then go on to live our lives in this state of, I must fit in. I must not stand out. I do not want to feel judged. I do not want people to think different about me. I do not want to, I want to please people. But the thing is, in your business, you must stand out within a crowd. So many of our business owners, the way that they get world-class talent is we create these ads that attracts world-class talent. And so many of the people that we work with, when we write this ad for them, they're like, oh, that is crazy, don't know about this. But then they do it and they are blown away with the responses. Why? Because it's different. It speaks to the 1%. But so many business owners, especially when we work with them, they get stuck at this plateau. And this is what starts playing out. And then I'll give you a little strategy of what it is that you can do to start getting your time back. If you want to grow your business and become a business owner, you need to learn to work on the business rather than in the business. And most businesses I talk to day to day, they're just doing everything they can to keep the wheels turning. Everything's reactive. And they finally get home after a big day and they're exhausted. So they don't have any time to think, and then they go in and the cycle starts again. The biggest challenge I see in business owners right now is they do not have time to think. When they do have time to think, they don't actually know how to think. Why? Because they're emotionally involved within the business. As a business owner, you must create time so that you can actually think about what is the number one constraint right now. Because business is about moving from constraint to constraint. But let's be honest, most of us are afraid, or we get annoyed when there's challenges within our business. Get this, and please listen when I say this. Business only exists by solving problems, and he who solves the most problems wins. So rather than wishing for less problems, wish for you to become more. But for you to become more, you need time to think and work on the business. And it's as simple as this. You can get to the end of the day, schedule in 10 to 15 minutes, it's all it takes, and do a debrief. What went well today? What didn't go so well? What could I improve? And if you do that enough day in, day out, and you focus on the main constraint, you start moving your business forward. But I want to finish off and I want to share something that I learned from Dan Martell. And if there's a book you want to check out, it's called Buy Back Your Time. And he talks about the drip matrix on how to get your time back as a business owner. And in the later videos that we create on this channel, we'll actually start giving you the exact tools we work with our clients so that you can learn how to double your revenue while getting your time back. Okay, so he's got this model called the drip matrix. And same thing, it's got 4 quadrants, and one axis down here lights you up. You love doing this stuff. And then the other one up here makes money, okay? And then you've got this matrix here, and it's the drip matrix, D-R-I-P. Most business owners live in the D, and that's what we call the delegation quadrant. In this has got a list of things that you do day to day that don't make a whole lot of money and don't really light you up. But because you're so exhausted, you do not know how to move out of the day-to-day and you're wearing all of the hats. That simple debrief system I talked about a moment ago, that is your first simple step, but it needs a time and a place to live in your calendar, or it's never gonna happen. But the first thing we do with our clients, we get clear on what are all the things that drain you, that don't light you up, that just keeps the business sort of running. Doesn't make a whole lot of money, just keeps the wheels turning. And then we learn to delegate all of these things within this quadrant. We then move you up into this quadrant. This quadrant also doesn't really light you up, but it makes the most money within the business. It's usually the sales, the delivery of the product. So here, you can hire generalists or you can put systems and automation in. Up here, you're more looking for people that you can either train or you can hire a specialist. This is the replacement quadrant. This is the stuff that makes money but doesn't light you up. This, you move up into this next stage and you then need to go, cool, what is my next constraint? My next constraint is this, doesn't really light me up but makes the most money. That is either my next hire or I need to create a process or a system to take that over. As you move through this matrix, when you start the replacement, you now start to get your time back for the first time. And unfortunately, the time straight away isn't to go on more holidays to start with. It's to invest into yourself and into your business. It's to give you time to think. And that moves you down into the I. And that's the investment quadrant. This is what lights you up, but it doesn't make a whole lot of money. This is where you can attend masterminds, courses, books, YouTubes, you can reach out to mentors and you can start learning so you can become more, so you can solve more. You can become more so you can earn more. And the coolest part about this, I don't just mean in business. Most of our clients are families in business. How can you actually work on you? How can you work on investing into your team? How can you work on investing or improving your CRM? whatever it may be. This is all the development of the business, and it's not gonna pay you straight away, but it gets you in your element and it gives you that sense of progression. And as you become more, you move up into the production quadrant. And this is where you become a real business owner. You become an entrepreneur. What does that mean? Rather than self-employed down here like we talked about, you're now an entrepreneur, a business owner, a person that builds assets, a person that builds cash flowing machines, a real company. And this is where you get to choose and create as a visionary, what do you want to do day to day that brings in the most money and lights you up? Most business owners want this, but they want to go straight from here up to there. But there's a process behind it. So to finish this off, the first step you need to do as a business owner is you just need to allocate time in your calendar daily, 10 to 15 minutes, and focus on what went well, what didn't go so well, and then what can I improve? Outside of that, I hope you've already mastered the other basics like, what is my outcome for the week? Where do you want to be by the end of this quarter? Have you got a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal for that year? We'll do more videos on that later. But step one, you need to learn how to think. You need to learn how to reflect. Why? Because as Ray Dalio says, pain plus reflection equals progress. So if you're a business owner watching this right now and you have any questions, drop it in the comments and I'll personally respond to all of them, and we'll even make accompanying videos if we need to. So if you love this stuff, like and subscribe. Would love the support, and we'll see you next time.